If you haven't seen the Fumbled Heist yet, watch it, because heavy spoilers, I guess. And it's funny because I haven't actually completed the Fumbled Heist, but by the time this video uploads, it will be right there on the channel, so go watch it. I also watched the Galactic Escape, which I keep slipping off on. I keep saying Galactic Escape instead of Fumbled Heist because I'm going to be talking about the two, and it's so confusing in my brain. But watch it, because there will be a lot of contrasting and comparing in this video. Anyways, this video is going to be split into individual chapters because it's easier to edit that way, and it gives you more time. If you only care about the animation part or the editing part, you can skip to them chapters, and if you want to see the whole thing, you can watch all the chapters. But anyways, going to be starting off with ideas generation, then ideas generation, pre-production and building the set, then animation, then editing, and then conclusion, I guess. I don't know. It's on the screen. But anyways, ideas generation. You can't really have a film without it, because how are you supposed to make a film without knowing the idea for it first? Now, here's the thing. I knew as soon as I made the Galactic Escape that I wanted to make another Lego Blender animation. But the question is, what? At first I was thinking of doing a Lego detective sort of animation, very inspired by that 1 meter tall tale for some reason. That's the only detective sort of thing I've watched other than Who Framed Roger Rabbit. That's another good detective film. But anyways, I was reading the script for that and I was like, I love this idea. I love what I'm writing here, but I'm gonna hate animating this, because if you didn't know, if you animate the face in a Lego animation on Blender, for some reason the mecha face lags up your Blender file for some reason, so it is literally impossible, and you have to do so much to like try and sync what you animate into the actual audio, and it's just so time consuming. Like that Lego Batman animation I did a while ago, that literally took 2 days to do, and imagine doing that for an entire like 4 or 5 minute Blender animation. It is gonna be so draining, and the thing is with me, if I don't like animating something, there's a good chance I'm not gonna finish it. So that was scrapped. So the question is, what was I gonna do now? So then I looked at my comic book that I made as a child. I don't know why I have this stuck to my wall, but I was thinking about the characters that I made in there, along with my good friend Ryan Cookney, which is why he's probably listed in the credits somewhere as character designs or something, because he helped create those characters with me all the way back in year 6, and these are characters that have sort of like developed over time with him. Like they've gone from like comic books to Lego animations to Roblox roleplays for some reason, and they're kind of characters that have developed over time, so it's like I know the weaknesses, I know the strengths, and I know all that. Whereas with like Clara Collins and Cassandra Keys, I forgot their names already, from the Galactic Escape, I really wanted to make a sequel for that, but then I realized watching it back that Cassandra Keys is literally perfect. Like the only thing she was missing was Clara Collins, and I couldn't make the film again. Like if I wanted to make a sequel, it'd literally just be the same film again, because like I've written such a perfect character, it's impossible to kind of develop that character. But the thing is, with these comic book characters that I've developed over time, they have more potential, they have more sequel potential. So if I ever wanted to make another film with these characters, I could do that, and that is amazing. But anyways, I kind of wanted to show my sketchbook for when I was doing the ideas generation, because I had a really good sort of thing going with it. I need to show it. I wanted to showcase my sketchbook and like the ideas generation I was doing for it. But anyways, this film actually started off a little bit too ambitious here. I was gonna have like a split screen sort of like narrative where it would be like the cop side on one side and the robber side on the other. It's a little bit too ambitious. Maybe with practice I could figure out how to do something like this, but this is impossible at the moment because it takes skill to get the timing right and all that. And it was like, I'm gonna have a headache doing this, and it's probably not gonna be worth it in the end. So I scrapped that. But anyways, this is cool. This was like a little like mind map of how I wanted it to go, like very basic. Like all this does happen in the final film, but like it's a lot more simplified here. This doesn't even have the subplot with the snack guy. This was like cool like shot ideas and cool little joke ideas. I like this. This actually got into the film. All of these kind of did, I think. You have the blue light and the red light shining on him to represent, being a cop and like him being the good guy and all that. Donuts flying in the air where the guy screams through the phone. That was funny. I kept that. The Cornetto references, referencing the Cornetto trilogy, and especially Hot Fuzz because the cops eat Cornettos in that film. I thought that would be a little nod to Edgar Wright, and I seem to be doing little nods to him in every film because they were watching Shaun of the Dead in the Galactic Escape, which is a bit funny. I have the robber shooting the guy with the banana that stayed in the film. What's this? Oh yeah, this is the original idea for the snack guy. That's amazing. That is so cool. I'm so glad I planned it so early on. Anyways, this was like me trying to figure out all the characters that are going to be in the film. I don't know if it says anyone that actually wasn't there. No, they all stayed the same. Wow. And this is like character dynamics. That's cool. Apparently I only did like the character dynamics for the criminals, but I think I actually developed the character dynamics more in the actual storyboard, which is a bit cool. But yeah, I hope you liked me looking through my sketchbook. Just no, I only just realised that Green Bandit's name was mentioned here when I was talking about people that were probably not in the film. I don't want to spoil the plans that I do have for him in later episodes, but I did have a completely different plan for him in this little film here. Basically, he was going to be the getaway driver, and the only reason why I scrapped that was because I was worried that I'd hate doing scenes outside, but then I actually did a lot of scenes outside, and I ended up loving them. So don't be surprised if later episodes, later films that I make are primarily outside, because I just love doing outdoor scenes and like decorating like little Lego towns in Blender. It's really, really fun actually. Right, so pre-production. I don't know if this is only a me thing that does this much pre-production when I'm doing my films, because I've been talking to other Blender Lego animators that do sort of filmmaking and like short film sort of thing. They don't do as much pre-production as me, and I don't know if it's just a me sort of thing. And when I did the Galactic Escape, I posted like my storyboard, and I got a lot of questions about that, so I think this might be the most interesting part of the sort of video, because like I've got like a different way of pre-production, because I'm trying to make my films like as good as possible so that when I release it, I'm like, this is my best work so far, and I'm like actually proud of what I'm making, rather than making like a rushed product that I'm not as proud of, if that makes any sense. But I feel like pre-production for me personally is like the most important part to my process, because like I need to like plan out the snappiness, like the pacing of it, to make it like that fast pace. I need to plan out the where everything is gonna go, because I have like 2 to 3 different subplots, especially in this new film, the Fumbled Heist, and I need to plan out the whip pans as well, and all that is just like the reason why I do so much pre-production, because I want to make it as good as possible. I'd rather you wait like 4 months for a new film and it end up being like the best thing I've ever made, than wait like 2 weeks for a film that's probably like terrible, like you know what I mean. But anyway, I start off with a script, which may be surprising for a lot of you, since there's not any dialogue in my films. Like, the only dialogue sort of thing I added in the script was the "hey." And the reason why I do the script is because it makes it a lot more easier to like sort of structure the film, especially when I'm doing the storyboard. It's so easy to forget like things that happen in the movie, but when I'm writing a script, and the script only takes like a day or two, when I write the script, I can write it up and then I can look at the script while I'm doing the storyboard so I don't forget anything that goes on. So that is why I do the script, and it's pretty much like a very basic script. It only like says things that will happen in the film. It doesn't really go into detail about jokes or whatever. And to me, the script is structuring the film, and the storyboard is like actually like visualizing the film, visualizing the jokes, visualizing the action, and that sort of stuff. So, yeah, let's get on to the storyboard now. After filming the last part, I kind of realised that I had a cold, so I'm sorry if I sound so icky in this section. Hopefully that doesn't distract too much from the information I'm going to be presenting here. But anyways, I'm not going to be talking about the full storyboard here because we'll be here all day. But I think everything gets across in this first scene anyway. I really went really ambitious with this first scene. So hopefully the information will still be here. So anyways, you can see how faithfully like I kind of adapted the storyboard to the actual film. Like everything that happens here pretty much happens in the film, which is really, really important. And I even, what really helps me as well is that I have like establishing shot, bank, and bird's eye view shot. And this kind of helps me while filmmaking to know which exact shot I'm going to be doing and like what the focus here. Like I have bank here, I have close shot bank guy one here and all that, and I have these like zoom in lines to tell me when I'm zooming in. And like this like scene for continuing, it shows me that I'm continuing from the last scene, which also helps. If I've got like a big shot where more than one thing is going on, I usually have like a continuing, and then if it transitions into a zoom in, I'll still do the continuing, which is what I do. And I try to make all the characters look different so I can differentiate while like actually animating which characters I'm focusing on, if that makes any sense. I'm not putting like full detail in these storyboards. Like I'm doing very like basic like Roblox looking characters in these storyboards because I don't want to focus most of my attention to the storyboard that I could be focusing on the animating. But I do like putting a little bit of detail in these because it really does help me while animating. But anyways, I've even got these sort of lines to show me when I want to like do smear frames, and I got this whip pan whenever I want to do like a whip pan between shots. It also helps me when I'm doing a scene with into a scene. I got like a whip pan here, and these are two different scenes, and it helps me whenever I want to do a whip pan into another scene, because like there's a whole like sort of like weird thing that I'll talk about when I actually get onto that. It's like weird, you gotta like know all the math when doing like a whip pan between scenes. But anyways, I'll move on. That's kind of fun because it's kind of like the scene in the Galactic Escape where Cassandra Keyes is opening the cell door for the first time, so it's kind of like the same method I used there, except this time the character in focus is in distress, and it's kind of like a cool little parallel to my last film. This was really cool to like storyboard because this was like very inspired by Edgar Wright's films, especially Hot Fuzz, and a lot of people mentioned Baby Driver. It was very inspired by that as well, especially with this shot right here where you zoom into the eye. And this shot was very much inspired by the last shot of Hot Fuzz. It's really good that I'm like taking inspiration from other films that I really like, and it's really cool that I can like replicate their style in my own way, and I really love that about doing this sort of thing. What I do after my storyboard is I go to the next page and I start a list for each individual character, and I go through the storyboard, which is here. I go through the storyboard thinking what mumbles they're gonna do. Like here, this is a easy example. He's gonna say hey there, so I put in my list police chief, he's gonna say hey, and then I find my voice actors, and then I give them a character, and then I give them the list with the said character. and then I send them a voice memo demonstrating what I want from the character. Like, here, I got the red bandit at the top. First one says stretching noise, so I'd be like, hey, I want you to do a stretchy noise, and they'll go, "Arr, arr," and then I would like demonstrate like a stretchy noise that I want them to do. Hopefully that will make it easier for them to voice that, because I know the mumbles are pretty hard, especially if you just got sent the list. I usually like to send a voice memo. It makes it easier for the people I've heard. The difference between how I directed the Galactic Escape and the Fumbled Heist is that when I was doing the Galactic Escape, I was happy with like only one mumble per character. But then when I was doing the Galactic Escape, I sort of realised that when I was animating that I'd have like multiple of the same mumble within a scene, and it was so repetitive. And I don't know if anyone noticed that, but it was so repetitive while animating, so I figured it would be repetitive while watching to hear the same mumble over and over again. So I asked my voice actors this time to do like 3 mumbles at least for each individual mumble, and hopefully it's less repetitive this time to listen to. And also, while animating the Fumbled Heist, I relied less on the mumbles and more on the actual acting of the film. That's why there's probably like less mumble in the Fumbled Heist compared to the Galactic Escape. That was the only difference I really had with directing Fumbled Heist and Galactic Escape when it's talking about the voice acting. Alright, from talking to other Blender animators, I've noticed that a lot of them don't actually like do the set design or even minifig design, which I'm so surprised by, because to me personally, I feel like designing the minifigs are the most fun part of the process, but for some reason, a lot of people don't do that, which is fine, I guess. But for me personally, I really like doing that. I feel like it adds more experience to you if you do your own set design and minifig design, because then, I don't know, if someone wants a set designer but not an animator, you have more foot in the game with that. So I feel like it makes more sense. I also like doing my own set design because I feel like a lot of the stuff on Mechabits don't suit my tone, and they're not as to detail to what I'm looking for. But if I'm doing my own set design, then I can add in the details I want to and then make it suit my tone and like have it where it fits in with the camera shots I want to do. And it's so much easier for me to just design my own sets rather than to pull something on Mechabricks, which is in my taste. For the major sets, like the stuff in the bank and the stuff in the police station, I did all that myself, but there are a few things that I didn't do myself, especially the shot in the city with the car driving, very Edgar Wright styled. That was pulled from this guy. He is a very, very good animator. Too good to be posting animations on YouTube. Lego should hire him. He did like a Justice League and a Spider-Man looking animation, and they look exactly like they should belong in a Lego movie. You should check him out. But he did this really, really detailed sort of Lego city sort of thing that I needed for that shot, so I used his because it would be really, really hard for me to do it all myself. And also I used a couple of official Lego sets for the background sets when he's walking through the town, which I thought was cool. Lego's official sets really match my style because I'm really going for like official Lego sort of charm, and I feel like the sets really match my style, especially if they're just like background sets. I feel like if they're only background sets, I like using like official Lego sets, but if they're like important to the story, then I'll try and make my own sets for it. So I'm not gonna talk about absolutely everything in this video when talking about animation, like the basics, because this is not a tutorial video, it's a behind the scenes video. So if you want to know how to animate in Blender with Lego, there are tons of videos out there for you, but if I were to do that in this video, we'd be here all day, and I don't want this video being longer than it is. So if you really want that sort of thing, and go look at other videos. But I'm gonna tell you like some techniques that I did in this film that are like unique to me, I guess. For one, I want to talk about the camera being a 4:3 ratio. I did this because I'm very like inspired by like old cartoons that I used to watch, like Fairly Odd Parents, Invader Zim, and SpongeBob. I like the 4:3 more than the wider camera because to me there's like less space that has been wasted, and it just looks a lot more nicer for the old cartoons, and I feel like it gives more of a nostalgic sort of feel to it, because obviously I'm doing like comedy based on the old Lego games, and I feel like it's more nostalgic if I do the 4:3 ratio. And obviously, again, the less wasted space, because I don't like when watching like newer episodes of SpongeBob or newer episodes of Fairly Odd Parents, there's so much wasted space, and it really annoys me because they use so much to their advantage within the older episodes, and I just hate the wasted space sort of feel to it, and I prefer like the box with the less wasted space. I would also recommend, if you want to animate with mecha face, do the mecha face last. Like, do animation, then do the lighting, do the mecha face, because it will lag up your scene and it's harder to animate. So do the mecha face last, unless your blender is so good that it's good with mecha face, but see, it's like lagging. I like the anticipation, some anticipation before here. So I've been using a lot of smear frames here. This is what I mean by smear frames. I'm using other Lego pieces to enhance the action, and to get it right, I've been looking at Fairly Odd Parents more closely, the Lego movies more closely, a lot of other cartoons more closely, so I could get it right to how I want it to look. And I feel like I did really well. There was just one scene where she throws her gun, where I was like, I needed more anticipation. But yeah, it was cool to animate me in the background like screaming. I really liked adding in the extra details. It overall makes the movie a lot more immersive and a lot more better if you have like characters in the background, which is a massive improvement from the Galactic Escape that I did. This is some of my best smear framing as well. With the gun coming in, I'm whacking him. Really good. If you notice, this is very inspired by the Lego Batman game, where Joker and his goons are all in jail, and it like pans across to each one. I really like that in the Lego Batman game. I took a lot of inspiration from that. I used a different piece here for the smear frames. Okay, so I used like a tile sort of piece here to do the smear frames, and it looks so good in the actual film. I was inspired by him. I saw someone else do it in the Suicide Squad animation, and it looks so cool, and I wanted to do it for myself. It turned out really well. I showed JN while I was animating this, and he really liked it. The rain was so hard to get right. So basically, I put in the rain. So this was the first time using these. I'm trying to figure out where it was. These particle effects, and I didn't know how to use them, but I figured out I did everything right, other than the fact that I needed to like properly bake it into the animation so it would actually render. And it looks amazing, look at it. And this is what I meant in the last clip, where I was like, I used official Lego sets for the background. These are all like official Lego town sort of sets that I used to fill out the background. It makes it look more like immersive, and I only did it to what the camera can see, because I don't want to waste too much time doing it. These are miniatures. These are miniature animations. So if you've seen the Lego movie, and Wes Anderson also does this in his movie, they'll have like miniature sort of like sets to do the bigger sort of things, and I really liked that sort of effect, so I decided to do it in these films as well. I just really like how they look, and it also expresses the Lego sort of feel a bit more. And this actually involves a deleted scene. This was a deleted scene, kind of, where it focused more on the Meta car, but I thought it distracted from the pacing I was going for, and I liked it, but I didn't like it for the film, if that makes sense. And it distracted from like the pacing, the fast pace of the scene, so I cut it down to where it only follows the cop car, but I still really liked it. Something else that I didn't like about this is that I had this whole cafeteria sort of set built, and because of the way I filmed it, I didn't like take advantage of the detail of the cafeteria, so you don't really know that they're in a cafeteria. Which I want to get better at. I want to make bigger sets because I did this set so small originally because I thought my blender wouldn't be good enough for the bigger sort of sets, but then I got proven wrong. So I'm going to try and do bigger sets so I can do better shots next time. Hopefully make them more detailed as well. I want to talk a bit about the lighting as well. Like this shirt isn't even in the shot, and I wanted him to. Originally, I did like spotlight sort of lighting, but I figured out these what are they called? Point lights. These what are they called? Point lights. These point lights are better. They just look better while animating, and they're easier to work with. You can it's easier to animate with the figure when they move around as well. There's a lot of point lights. This is probably my favorite case of smear frames coming up. That it just looks so clean. The way I did it was with these sort of tooth pieces, and they're emulating the arm and the hand. I like how the hand is coming. I got the hand there. If I can zoom in, don't zoom into her heart. Got the hand there. By the way, yeah, this is me trying to do the girl voice with this character. I didn't like it. I don't like my girl voice, which is why I'm not using it right now. Well, what I do like about this scene, actually, let's talk about what I do like. Need to denoise again. I like the lighting so much. I used if I go to here and material, I use these emission sort of materials to make them light pieces, and it looks so much better. So I liked how inside the bank it was yellow, had this golden glow to it, it was this prized possession, and I liked how it was green everywhere else, and it gave this cool effect. And I made it super bright, so I didn't have to put extra lights because I didn't want to interrupt the effect with extra point lights. So I wish I had more anticipation here. So she's looking at the gun, and then all of a sudden she throws it. I wish I had an anticipation where she holding the gun up and then throwing it at the floor like I had in the first scene. But it still looks good, but it's not when I showed someone this, they asked me how I did it, and I want to talk about how I did it. So first I moved the camera back a bit, if I remember which. It affects this one. Okay, so I moved that back a bit, and then as well as moving that back a bit, because I also changed the focal length so it do the same effect. So I moved it back so that it's further away, but I changed the focal length so that the focal will be closer to the character, if that makes sense. I'm probably not explaining it very well, but hopefully by visuals you'll know what I mean. It's actually a lot more easier than I thought it'd be. There was a problem with the focal length. It was the clip start, I think. Yeah, it was this. I had to change the clip start for this one shot because for some reason it'd look weird if I didn't do it. Oh yeah, look. See how it's clipping through the camera? If I remove it now, then it wouldn't be clipping through the camera. So I had to change the clip start thing just for that one shot. As well, when he ran, there was a bit of smear frames. If you've seen the Galactic Escape, you know I did this a lot, but I wanted to minimize it to important shots like this where it needs those sort of smear frames, and I think it works really well for that. There's a lot of smear frames here. That's one of the reasons why it took so long to animate, is because I put so much detail in the smear frames, so it'd be more snappy in the animation and more like the pacing wouldn't slow down. I feel like it gives it more of like a cartoony sort of style as well. So this shot was really a problem because you can see he clips out at some points. It was way worse originally, but I had to like fix it to the best of my ability to where he wouldn't clip out as much. And I don't know why he does that. I have the rig parented to the car, which I guess messes the rig when it's like moving in another direction to where the rig is, I guess. I don't know. If anyone who's more experienced with Blender knows how to fix that, then let me know, please. But I'm really happy with this scene other than that one like animation mistake. I didn't even talk about the animation mistake in the last scene. Here, so in the scene before, she has all that money, but then I forgot to add the map for her. I didn't for the other guy, but I forgot for her for some reason. But I guess the headcanon sort of explanation for that is her bag is so big if the money fell into her bag. But I like doing this. This was like inspired by Breaking Bad. I won't say which exact shot of Breaking. If you know, you know. But I won't spoil Breaking Bad if you haven't seen it. But it was inspired by Breaking Bad. I mean, you probably guessed by this shot anyway, because it's a bit of a meme. I'll stop yapping for now. Let's get on to editing. Alright, so when I was animating, I was like, yeah, sure, the animation is really good. Probably the best we've done so far, but I had like a little bit of like imposter syndrome. I don't know if that's the correct word for it, but I was like, is this even that good though? But then when I actually added in all the sound effects and stuff, I was like, yeah, this is good. I actually cooked here, and it's probably because it feels like more lively and more complete when you add the sound effects. I don't know the exact science of it. But... So firstly, I actually added like color grading to this one. I didn't add any color grading to the last one, but I feel like the color grading just like enhanced the colors a bit more, made them more like brighter, more cartoony, which was what I was going for. See, it looks a bit like dull. I feel it looks a bit more whitish, but when I added the color grading, it looked a bit more poppy, a little more standing out. So some of the sound effects are ones that I found online, but like with when the characters move and stuff, they are like sound effects that I made myself. So if I go here to Foley and go to Lego dropping Foley, this is just me just dropping Lego with my phone microphone next to it. I did that with the Galactic Escape. Like, this is just the same sound effects as Galactic Escape because I didn't need any like new ones recording. But I had so much like fun with it, and it suited the film as well because they were all like Lego sound effects. Compared to the Galactic Escape, I think I relied less on the Lego sort of sound effect than I did in that film because like I was going for like more like city sort of tone, or like kind of semi-realistic sort of tone. That's not the correct thing, but I know what I'm trying to say with this. I did all the Lego sound effects for the minifigures mostly. This is what I was saying before. I should have talked about it more in the animation sort of part, but in Blender, I had to like really like mathematically sort of like figure out how to like do these like whip pans. And they last for like 6 frames, I'm pretty sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They last for 6 frames. And I have like a whip pan sound effect there. Obviously, I used mostly the Lego City Undercover soundtrack for this, but I really tried making the sound match to the song match to like what is happening. So there's like goes from like really intense action music to like more chill, relaxed sort of music. I really like. I should have talked about this in the animation, but I really like this sort of like hand thing. It looks so cool. So originally for this, I was planning to have like a. I was very inspired by Mr. Crocker from the Fairly Odd Parents. I was originally planning to have like a razor blade there and a razor blade here, and have it like go red, but I didn't like how it. Yeah, it was originally gonna look like this, like, but I did not like how that was going, so I sort of didn't do that. I also like doing the sound effects for this because this guy is like one of the two comedic reliefs in the film. If you notice, his eyes are animated like Thomas the Tank Engine, where the eyes are like dead goofy and like going around everywhere. And they're animated on ones as well, where compared to everything else on the minifigure, which is animated on twos, I think it gave like a nice effect for the comedic relief, made him stand out a bit more. And I used two different banana pieces, which was really cool. I didn't even know this banana piece existed. And then I used a Squidward sound effect for when the banana shoots Squidward's tentacle. Cool little detail. I liked using a sound effect from a show that I really like, especially if it's Squidward, because I really love Squidward. I think he's like one of the best characters in cartoon history. Oh, this was annoying to like both animate, and also both do the sound effects for the when the character dies, the like the Lego games, the stuff to come out of them. It looks amazing, but it was like really annoying to animate, really repetitive, and also to do the sound effects for, because I had to do the sound effect for each individual stud that comes out of him. But it was worth it in the end. I think it gave a good effect. Oh yeah, I did a different color grading for this scene. I don't know how many of you care or really paid attention to it, but that's the color grading for that scene. It's slightly different. I think I leaned in more into the green, yeah. And if I take the color grading off, I feel like it pops out less. I feel like I prefer it with the color grade on. Like the blacks aren't as black with the color grade on, and I was going for a very green sort of effect. Okay, so this scene was, I did even more color grading here because originally the background didn't match with the foreground, so I needed to color grade it so they match a lot better. And also I wanted like the film to take place over a course of a day, so I get like gradually like darker. This is sunset, and then at the end of the film it's like dark and like night sky sort of thing. I also use like a Lamborghini sound for this car. I thought it'd be funny to have like a sound effects for such a powerful and respected car for this little thing. It also like fits in because this is going like really fast. I stopped the music for a bit because like this is like shocking to him and it's like intense. I do not like the lighting for this scene at all. Okay, so I like the fade out because the rest of the film it was very like snappy, like Edgar Wright style like whip pans, and I thought it'd be cool to like slow it down for when she's like defeated, because like the threat's over, it's like the end of the film. I thought it'd be good to like slow down and like emulate that with the transitions, having like a slow fade to black and like a slow fade back in. This sound I thought it like, because it's from Lego Marvel Superheroes, it gave that like hero sort of energy, but it gave that melancholic sort of like energy to it as well. Like when I was playing Lego Marvel Superheroes, I knew I wanted to use that sound for like a really sad sort of scene if I ever used it, and I did as well. And the rain looks amazing. Oh, the credits. This was easy. I just did the credits in a Word document, and then I pasted them here, aligned it a bit more, and then made it roll. And the song choice was like intentional because it was like in the Lego City game, that's like the sound they use when you've completed a level. So I thought it'd be like perfect for my film. But yeah, that's it for editing. Right, so overall, I am very, very proud of myself. I have definitely improved since Galactic Escape, which I was already really proud of. But now that I've done the Fumbled Heist, I can see like I've improved a lot with the animation, with the pacing, with the characters. I've improved a lot. But you're probably thinking, for one, what's next for the Ashley Animate Stuff channel? For one, I've started kind of the Fumbled Heist episode 2. It won't be called the Fumbled Heist episode 2. I don't want to like spoil anything about it yet, other than the fact that I am making a second Fumble in the Fumbled Heist universe. It's gonna be really exciting. I've also sort of slightly planned a Galactic Escape 2 as well. I know I said earlier in the video that I didn't have any sequel ideas, but I've just come up with a sequel idea. And hopefully I can do that. I don't know. Bit hard working on like two sort of like series at the same time. They weren't originally supposed to be a series, but then I get these ideas for like sequels and like, this is too good not to make a sequel for. So yeah, that's why I've done so many sequels. But anyways, I haven't done a sequel in my life, mate. Why I'm planning so many sequels. But anyways, am I gonna do a behind the scenes in the future? I feel like doing it for at least one of my films was really, really good for me, because like a lot of people are interested, whether that be like Blender animators, fellow Blender animators that do like their films in like a completely different way to me, or whether that be friends who haven't even touched Blender and just curious about like how I animate films like the Lego Movie. But I feel like for one film it's like really good for that, but I feel like it's too much effort for like multiple films, especially when like the process is pretty much going to be the same. I don't feel like it's necessary to put effort into like a behind the scenes video when I could be putting more effort into future film. I feel like if I'm gonna do this sort of thing again, I'm gonna lean more into like a director's commentary. I mean, with like people who are very in the behind the scenes, like Ryan, he did all the characters for this film. Well, not all the characters, he helped with a lot of the characters. But anyways, that's really it for me. I'm gonna head off now. I'm nearly at 100 subs, so you might see me again. I might do a little Q&A if any of you are interested in that. You know what? If you have like questions already, just post them in the comments. I'm gonna do like a community tab and an Instagram post about a Q&A later down the road. But if you already have questions that you want to ask me, just send them in the comment section. Why not? But anyways, I'm gonna go now. I don't know how to do an intro, so I'm just gonna bye.